Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Bridge. I am Felicia Miller. This is Christopher Miller.
Hello, everyone.
We are not going to wait for people to come in. If you care to watch the replay, that's fine, but we're not going to wait for people to come in. We're just going to do this live video because it was requested by someone who wanted us to do a video about preparation for marriage, expectations versus what is reality. So we just gonna do a quick video, and the theme is so you want to be married. We want to do a quick disclosure. We are by no means the prototype. We just prove that you could be married and have no clue what you're doing. We proved that you can stay married through hard times. And when she requested us to do this video, I was like, God, maybe people do need to hear this. And one thing about us is we gonna always be real. We gonna always keep it 100. We're not gonna act like we have it all together when it comes to marriage. But because it was requested, we're gonna go ahead and put it out here. We do feel like we have a lot of wisdom in this area, because if it can happen, we've walked through it. And the fact that she asked us, and she's known us a while, and the fact that she walks heavy in the Lord and she knows who He is, and for her to request that, I was really humbled, honestly, to do this video for her. So this is what we want to talk about. When we get ready to get married, we have these expectations that everything is going to be perfect, and that they not going to pass gas, and they ain't going to ever get cranky, and is that everything that you do they going to love, and everything you wear they going to love, and that's not reality. And we go in with these false expectations, thinking that the man that asked me to marry him, evidently he think that I'm all that in a bag of chips, he won't ever find any issues with me. And that was my mindset. Okay, if he thought enough of me to say, will you be my wife, he thought that I was perfect. And he would never do anything to hurt me, or he would never disappoint me, or he would never hurt my feelings, like insult me even. Things like that do happen. And I wasn't prepared emotionally to be anybody's wife. I was so insecure. I had low self-esteem. I didn't think that I was good enough. I didn't think I was pretty enough. I didn't think that I was worthy of that title of being somebody's wife. So in all of that, me bringing all that in, and I had daddy issues, I brought all of that into our marriage, and Chris had to wear it. He had to carry that. And he did not know how to be a husband because he wasn't raised around his dad. So it was like we had no model, and we had all these high expectations for each other that we couldn't meet. So the first thing I would tell anybody who is preparing for marriage is to conquer your insecurities. Get rid of everything that you see about yourself that's not in agreement with the Word of God. Because what God says about us is we're above, we're not beneath, we're the head and we're the not the tail. We have everything pertaining to life and godliness, and that means worth. My value, I have enough value and self-worth to get me through life because He told me I have that. He's given me that. If I don't believe it, that's my fault. But we walk in with not believing in our true identity in Christ, and we carry this stuff in, and we expect for our mates to just fill that void, to place whatever it is that I came into this marriage. You're supposed to give it to me, and if you don't give it to me, you're failing as a spouse. And that is so wrong. But I had that expectation that He's supposed to fill this void. The fact that I had daddy issues, you're supposed to make me feel good about men. You're supposed to make me feel safe concerning men. And if you don't do that, you're failing as a husband. I was that ignorant coming into marriage, and it caused so much trauma in our marriage going in. So I thank God that now I can say that I'm whole, I'm healed, and I'm able to, when He's not up, I can pull him up. But before, I could not do that because I was so insecure. You got anything you want to say?
That's good. What you don't want to do is come into the marriage with the illusion that you're perfect.
Yeah.
It's no such thing.
Yeah.
You're not perfect. She's not perfect. And you have to remember that, from wherever your background is, what you learn, the things you have to tweak it a little bit. You have to become good in that area. Don't go in this marriage or getting prepared for marriage thinking that you got it all together, and look at her or look at him and thinking that they're wrong, they don't get it right. They didn't come up like I came up. No, they were not raised like you were raised. So they won't get it right all the time. You're not going to get it right all the time. So that illusion of I'm perfect, you need to throw that out the window. Check your pride at the door right from the get-go. And like I said, if I have any regrets, is from when I got married or going into this thing, is the fact that I didn't check myself first. That's the only regrets I really have, because I didn't know how to, check myself at the door to see what I did not know, to see how I could become a better husband, a better father. I didn't know those things.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to check myself and then tweak that and bring my good stuff to the game instead of bringing all my baggage to the game.
Yeah. Yeah. He said that he came in not knowing. I want to just interject that it's no excuse for us not knowing. And for a long time, we rode that excuse. Like, okay, I just don't know. I don't know how to be a husband. That's just like a lot of people that say, men that say, I didn't have my dad. I don't know how to be a daddy. I don't know how to be a father. There's books in the library concerning it. And I'm just going to go to the blueprint. My blueprint for life is the Word of God. It teaches us what God feels about marriage. It teaches you how to be a wife. It teaches you how to be a husband. It teaches you how to be a father. Because we have the model. God is our Father. And what He says and does for us, that is our model. We don't have an excuse to be ignorant. He says that He won't have His people being ignorant. If we decide to be, that's on us. That's on me. I don't have an excuse for not knowing how to be a wife. I don't have an excuse for not knowing how to be a mother. I don't have any excuses. That's one thing that we have to do too when we get married, and even going into it, rid yourself of the excuses of why it can't be done that's going into marriage, or why you don't want to do it while you're actively married. Rid yourself of excuses. Another thing that you're going to have to do is set aside your pride. We go in real haughty and prideful that somebody's supposed to take care of me. I'm going to be honest, and I'm talking to women now. We go into this expectation that he's going to always be able to take care of me. I'm going to be honest, when we first got married, I was making like $9 an hour. So he took good care of us. And I had this expectation that he was supposed to always be that way. But when his job changed, I can't just sit there and look at my husband drown, because he is supposed to be the provider. And if we go in with those type expectations where he's supposed to always take care of me, and I ain't supposed to do this, and I ain't supposed to have to do this, you need to go back to the 60s, because in this day and age, it usually takes 2 incomes for you to live the life that you want to live, for you to be able to afford the things that you want to afford in life. And he's had a good job, but still, when you're raising children and you have other things to come up, life can be weighty, and you don't want to put that pressure on your spouse that, okay, he's supposed to always do that. We equally work hard. We have a business that we equally have to go out and do contracts. I work a full-time job and he works a full-time job. And I don't feel like I shouldn't do that because I'm a woman. I don't feel like I shouldn't do these things because I have a husband. And that goes back to that expectation versus reality. If God give you $1 million now, praise God. Yeah. Praise the Lord. And I'm rooting for that. If that's your prayer point, I'm rooting for that to happen. But if that does not happen, don't allow your spouse to drown because you feel like that's his obligation. I just don't agree with that. And a lot of times we in this society, and I hate to use this term, but we have a lot of women who have that gold digger mentality. And truth is, we take it into the church. We take it into the fact that, I'm marrying this man and he's supposed to. Women are powerful. We are strong. We are capable. We are able. We are brilliant. And we can do what we need to do to keep our homes afloat as well. It should not be all on him. Now, I'm going to, kind of just interject that I know for a fact that Chris wants me to stay home. If we were financially sound enough, I know that he would want me to be home. But that's not where we are in our lives right now. I'm believing that will shift. But right now, that's not where we are. And I have no problem. I have no problem stepping in and helping carry this load for with my husband. I don't have a problem with it.
I want to say something right there. When you have your vows, when you stand before the preacher and before the congregation, it says richer or poorer.
Yes.
Better or worse. You know, those situations going to come.
Yep.
They're going to be there. And the true test is when you stay in the gap, when you stay in the fight, regardless. You know, you might not have $3 in the bank.
Yeah.
Those are the times that will test your marriage, will test whether you're made for this type of opportunity. Because if you walk away because it get rough, there's no point in you getting married, no point in you thinking about it. Yeah. If you're not able to handle hard times, tough decisions, things that y'all have to work with together, there's no point in getting married. Yeah. If you're going to think that every day is going to be perfect, you're going to always have enough money, you're going to always have enough cars or houses and things of that nature, stuff that really don't even matter.
It doesn't.
What really matters is the fact that y'all working together to build each other and help grow each other, to help build a life together, something that's pleasing in the eyesight of God. And that's what you really want to focus on. You don't want to get yourself caught up in the things just because it looks good on TV, the people that's putting out this imaginary and false hope. Yeah. That ain't what you want to do. You want to get in there and plug away together. Yeah. There's nothing more beautiful than when you stick together through the thick and the thin, the good and the bad, and then you find your way to that perfect place that you're looking for, that good place that you're looking for in your marriage and in your life. Yeah. Because nothing stands before God, but your marriage can if you do it right way.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that D posted in there, marriage is hard work. A lot of people don't believe it. Yeah. And it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it's worth it. And if we get to a point where we really learn to value commitment, because I'm gonna be honest, that irreconcilable difference thing that is going on. Back in the day, people did not do that. They didn't. They stayed with each other through, some stuff that I don't know. I love you, but I don't know if I can ride with you like that. They stayed with, women didn't argue, and I'm gonna be honest, right there, with people not arguing and not having disagreements in front of your children, honestly, you're giving your children a false reality, because you're going to have disagreements. We are going to have times where and our kids laugh at us. Today, we were talking, she was like, y'all so funny. But it was a disagreement, but we knew how to do it without going crazy or so it's comical to them, but that's a disagreement, and they need to see us be able to disagree, but come to a common ground on it, and still be able to be like, I got you, you got me, I got you, so we good, and we have to keep it that way. We have to have realistic views of marriage. Like I said, I am not going to ever stand before anybody and act like we ain't never been through nothing. It's been times, I'm going to be honest, it was a time where I was just in a rough spot in our marriage. We were going through some things. Crip woke up and I was beating him. I'm just being real. We ain't going to sit up here and act like it ain't never been no hard times. He woke up and I was giving him a 2-piece. I was not playing with you, and I don't fight. I'm not a fighter, but it was just so much aggression and frustration that I was dealing with at that moment that he was sleeping and he woke up to me tagging his head. Now this lets you know it had to be pretty rough in that season of our marriage, but it was just so much frustration, so much chaos going on, so much struggle in finances, and it was just crazy. And it was just like I was overwhelmed. And at that time, honestly, and I know he didn't mind me saying it, he was not one that was connecting with the church like he does now. He was not one that was reading his word or trying. I think he was trying to be the man that he is now, but he didn't know how to. And at that time, he was the one that was making those excuses like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do in this situation. So it kept festering and getting worse and worse. And that's what it led to, me physically hitting him. And that is so not me. The first time I told that story, I fell apart because that's not me. I'm not a fighter. I'm going to be honest. A woman walk up to me, want to fight me, look, we go to the police department because I ain't got time. I don't fight. I just don't. It's not me, and I'm not going to do it. So we had to learn the value of commitment through a whole lot of stuff. But I will tell you, like I said at the beginning of the video, we are not the prototype. We are not the blueprint. We are just proof that you can stay married if it's hard. You can stay married when it hurt. Because it's a choice. We choose each other. Every day I prefer him. He's my preference. That's what I do every day. I wake up in the morning asking God, how can I serve him better? Because I don't always know how. And not only do I not always know how, I don't always want to.
That's true.
I don't always want to serve him. I don't always, when Chris comes in from work, he could be exhausted and frustrated. But when he walk in that door, I'm fixing his dinner plate. I don't work myself. I could have had a horrible day at the courthouse and police department. But I'll come in this house and I'll go straight to the kitchen. And when he comes in, I have his dinner ready. And I prepare it. And he comes to sit at the table. That's all he has to do. I don't always feel like doing that though. You fix your own doggone plate. Sometimes that's what's going on in the inside. And I had to pray that thing on me. Because I'm tired too, you know. But I get to serve. I have to get to a place or a mindset that I get to serve. I have the opportunity to have a spouse. So I don't want to take that for granted. And you know, when we talking about, so you want to be married, are you ready to do all of this? Are you ready to rid yourself of selfishness to that degree to where when you don't feel like doing something, you're able to just, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure he good. You know, up until a few years ago, I used to make sure all his clothes was ironed. Lay his work clothes out. I mean, just that wife. But my business grew and now I'm working at the police department too. I'm not able to serve him on that level to that degree. But the things that I'm able to do, I do it. And vice versa.
Yeah, you don't want to get complacent with that type of lifestyle as well. You know, yeah, I got a little comfortable with her fixing my dinner plate, ironing my clothes, things of that nature. But in the same breath, I can also do it for myself. Yeah. And it was kind of frustrating when it first took place where she stopped doing it. Because I'm like, man, I got to start doing this for myself.
Spoiled.
I was very spoiled. I won't lie. But, you know, and I'll go back to what she said a little while ago about not knowing how to be a spouse. Now, I didn't have my mother and father in the same home. They didn't marry. So I didn't understand how a husband's supposed to react to his wife. I didn't understand how he's supposed to treat her. Now, just by the grace of God, I knew that I'm supposed to be a good husband. I know I'm supposed to do certain things, but I didn't know how to really get in there and treat her because I didn't have many examples. Now, I seen my uncles from a distance, I seen their marriage, but I didn't get to see the times where they do have arguments, where they do have disagreements, and then they fix it right there and learn to come back together. I didn't get to see none of that. Yeah. So I had to learn on the fly. Now, what I did not do is make that my excuse to make mistakes. I never let that continue to be my excuse to make mistakes over and over again. The same stuff when I know better. Yeah. Even when you're a kid, you're taught right from wrong. And so when you become an adult, you know right from wrong. Now, if you continue to do the same thing over and over, continue to make the same mistake, then you live with them consequences because you know what's going to happen behind all of that. Yeah. So I just chose to make a conscious effort that I'm going to stick in here and try to correct my mistakes the minute that I've made throughout our marriage in my lifetime period. I said I'm going to get here and I'm going to keep fighting, I'm going to keep plugging away at it, and I'm going to fix these mistakes. Yeah. I'm going to allow God to change me so I can be changed. You see where I'm coming from? So that right there, just alone, and when you talking about marriage, it's definitely difficult. It's not easy. It's not fun a lot of time. Just like she said, sometimes she can't stand me.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I said sometimes
That's what I read, y'all.
I don't want to serve you sometimes, but I ain't never say I couldn't stand you.
But
don't tell me.
But that's the way marriage goes sometimes. Sometimes we just don't like each other, and that's just being transparent and truthful. Yeah. But that don't mean you don't stay in the fight. You don't continue to love each other. Yeah. That ain't what it's all about. It's not a relationship as far as you're dating. You cannot just leave because everything going bad today. Yeah. Finances are jacked up. You cannot leave. You got to stay in the fight. Because I was telling Felicia a while back, I was saying this to her, just imagine had we stopped fighting for our marriage.
And we almost did.
Just imagine had we stopped fighting for our marriage, stop plugging away, stop seeing each other's value, and then just walked away. Yeah. Now, where we're at today, and we didn't even scratch the surface, I don't believe. But just imagine had we stopped, we'd have lost everything we seen just because we got selfish, put our pride in the mix, and walked away from it.
Yeah.
We couldn't have seen some of the people that God has allowed us to meet, some of the relationships we have built over the years. We wouldn't have seen that happen stop.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. You can't allow your pride to step in. You can't allow your selfishness to step in, especially when it's dealing with marriage, because you're going to have your up and down. It's a rocky road sometimes, but you got to keep going.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people tell you not to hone in on the potential of your spouse. You know, they got that little saying, potential will keep you poor. You know, but I feel like that once we see the potential and once we see the areas in our spouse that are profitable for you, profitable for them, and that are attached to their purpose, I feel like we should hone in on it to the degree where we're praying for them and we're pushing them and we're encouraging them, and I had to learn that during the same time that I was learning to value commitment, because I was not quick to apologize. I was not quick to receive apology. I am big on we grown. When you get to doing stuff when you grown, you know better, and I don't have time for that. I don't have time to let you keep behaving this way because you know better.
Can I say something?
Yeah, you can.
And I came from a background where you get cussed out, fussed at, but then 20 minutes to an hour later, everything's good. I love you. All in the same breath. Yeah. So that's my background. So that mixture coming together.
It didn't work.
It was different for her.
It didn't work.
Versus what I received when I was growing up. I was used to getting fussed at, and then all of a sudden you love me all over again. So I was used to that. And that's the way I responded to her. I can do something silly and then come back an hour later and tell her I love her. But I really mean I love you. But that was my love language, the way I was speaking to her. You know, based off of the way I grew up, the way I was treated sometimes.
It didn't feel like love.
Exactly.
It did not feel like love. And you know, I had to tell him that that's how you grew up. But don't expect for me to be able to handle that. You know, you feel like you saying this, and it hurt me. I'm going to tell you, I broke up with him one night when we were dating. Because we went to the fair with his brother and his now wife. All of us were dating then, and we went to the fair, and he said something to me, and I'm sensitive. Like, I'm super sensitive. I'm a Cancer, so I cry all the time, and I started crying. I didn't talk all the way from Columbia, the state fair, because I was just through it. And when we got back, I told him, I said, I can't handle you because, you know, you say some stuff. And he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I was like, I just need to pull back, you know, because this is not who I am. I can't handle that type of behavior. Knew he was a good dude, knew he was into me, but I couldn't do it. So I broke up when he came back up to my apartment that night, because I went back home and I was like, just leave me alone for a while. I'm done with this. And he came up, you ain't finna quit me because I'm playing with you. You ain't finna do that. But you have to learn that just because that feels good to you, that it don't work for me. And are you willing to strip yourself out of what you've known all your life? Yeah. I say it all the time. Marriage is a crucifier. It will crucify your flesh. It will cause you to have to die in some areas that have been with you and attached to you all your life. It'll make you die to the things your mama told you that don't you ever do. Because this is the right way to do it. But your mom, that don't work in this house. That's why you leave and cleave your mother and father. And sometimes you have to leave some of the things that they taught you, because now you're establishing your own legacy. You're establishing your own family. You're establishing a household for yourself. And those rules don't work with the people who you brought into your household, who you created, and the woman or man that you married. You have to strip yourself. Are you willing to do that? So you want to be married, but are you willing to do all of that for the sake of being married? Because it is a lot of work. And you know, we talk about in the Bible, it was a scripture saying that it's good for some not to be. Because if you're not willing to strip, because honestly, when we get married, you know, all of us think, you know, when we get married, it's for somebody to just to be on your side, for you to have a date, for you to be able to have somebody a boot. It ain't about that. When we get married, it is for a greater good. It is for our purpose. God connects us with our spouses for our purpose. It ain't just for us to have a boo. And what does the enemy attack? He's going to attack your purpose. So because you're married, that's why marriages are so highly attacked. Because your purpose is attached to the union. And if you let the enemy strip you of that, not saying God won't use you if you go through a divorce, because he will. He uses single people. He uses people who've been through divorce. He uses whomever he pleases. But marriages is so highly attacked because my purpose is connected to him.
Yep.
Regardless of whether I want to believe it or not, my purpose is connected to this union. And in the times that I wanted to give up, like I was out, like talking to a divorce attorney out. And God told me, I'm going to use y'all. I'm going to use this. Stay in the fight. And I did. And I'm grateful that I did. But even after hearing God say stay, I fought. I fought in my mind with how I could feel if I walked away, or how much peace I would have if I walked away. I'm grateful that we did, but I fought.
There's a lot of times, especially in the younger years of the marriage, and when you don't know a whole lot about marriage and you're still trying to feel your way out, it was time where we together, but we both felt lonely.
Yes.
There was a lot of them days you know you're present, but you're feeling like you're separate. And you're not there. You're not communicating well. You're not talking about certain things. You're not enjoying each other's company. And I'm going to tell you, some of those things are key. Mm-hmm. Like when you're dating.
Yeah.
She's your everything, or he's your everything at that particular time. And those butterfly moments, all those things that made you want to get married are the things that you have to continue to do once you get married. Even when the days that things break down.
Yeah.
You can't allow that stuff to keep festering and then become bigger than what you can handle. Mm-hmm. Then you have to go and see an attorney because you didn't handle the problem before it got too big for your shoes.
Yeah.
And you need to just stay in the fight. You need to continue to date. You need to continue to smile. You need to continue to hug, laugh, kiss, whatever. Grab on the butt, whatever. Yeah, I said it. I meant it. If you want to keep things in perspective, those are the things you got to do. Yeah. You can't allow this stuff to just fall away because I'm tired. I'm ready to quit. Mm-hmm. It don't work like that.
Yeah.
Commitment is very, very, very key.
Yeah, it is.
What are you committed to when it comes to your marriage?
Yeah.
Who are you committed to? First, you need to be committed to God. And then commit to your spouse. Mm-hmm. And then whatever else falls up under that umbrella.
Yeah.
That's your commitment. You can't walk away because I want to. I'm tired. I don't want to quit. Yeah, you can quit, but it's always going to be some consequences with quitting. Yeah. If you don't have a game plan, you got to face that on your own.
Yeah. And I want to interject this too, because I hear a lot of single people who do talk to me about being married, talk about, their desires and the physical features of what they're asking God for in a spouse. Like, well, I want him to be 6'5", bow-legged, big car, and all this other stuff.
Why he had to be bow-legged?
Well,
go ahead.
just that's just something that women in general. I like your legs, but they're just back. You distracted me, but back to the physical features. We asking God for physical features, but is he godly? Can he lead you in prayer? Can he when you're down, can he encourage you? Right. It doesn't matter what he drive. If at the same time he driving away and doing what he want to do, that car don't matter. It's what can he bring to you to make you feel fulfilled? Right. And then a lot of us, we asking for gym buff men, and we won't step a foot in the gym. We won't go, and then we asking for him to be wealthy at the same time, but we don't manage our money well. We ain't paying attention to what comes in and out of our bank accounts. We're out shopping and getting the hair done and all this other stuff, and there's nothing wrong with those things. Right. But when you're more focused on that than financial blueprint, on financial strategy, should I say, you out of order. So don't ask God for something that you're not. That's what I'm saying. I feel like we should really learn money management before we decide to get married, because that was a big thing in our marriage. We were broke. like broke, and that kind of stuff causes grief in our marriage. It causes us to not be able to enjoy ourselves, not be able to do things we wanted for the kids, having to figure out how to do this and what we were gonna do with this, and borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. That kind of thing, it causes so much strain in your marriage. So you have to learn how to strategize and manage your money. So I think that we covered just about everything that we had planned to. I'm going to give a quick rundown of things that you should be mindful of when you're preparing for marriage. Conquer your insecurities. Give more than you receive. Put aside your pride. Learn to value commitment. Learn money management. And follow God's blueprint for marriage. Because if you don't do this, you may struggle. Because it's hard and the enemy is going to come. You could date somebody for 25 years and not have no problems. But the minute you get married, he coming in like a flood.
And I'm going to say this for the men, because I had an issue with this too. A lot of times when we're asked to pray for them, we think it's corny. Man, I don't feel like praying, or I don't sound like whoever when I pray. But we also need to learn how to cover our spouses in prayer, man.
Yeah.
You know, we may not see it or feel like it's having an effect, but trust me, it does. It does something to them. It does something for you as well. So learn how to cover them in prayer. And I'm speaking to myself. I won't say nothing that I'm not talking to me first. We need to learn to cover them in prayer. We need to learn to be more mindful of what they need and when they need it. You know, and I'll leave that right there.
It's a form of intimacy. You know, we always talking about sexual behaviors and all of that when it comes to intimacy, but there's nothing like a man laying his hands on you and praying. And I'm saying, when you're dating him, even if he don't lay hands on me unless you can pray. I mean, don't lay you praying, that's fine, but keep your hands off me because we not married. And that's another thing too. I'm gonna say this really quick. Don't give too much when you're dating.
Ooh.
Don't give too much when you're dating. And I'm not saying this from a place that I ain't walked through. When me and Chris was dating, I didn't cook for him. I had my own place. You ain't getting no keys. You knock on the door when you need to come in here. It was that kind of thing. We didn't stay together until we were married. We did not stay together. He stayed at his house and Clem with his mom, and I had my own apartment, and that was how it went. We did not do any of that. And then a lot of you know we had a child before we were married, but we had this brief separation because I was trying to find my way back to God, and I couldn't do it in that relationship as it was going. I couldn't do it in sin. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. We being 100 right here. So I stopped having sex with him. And that was a hard thing for him, but we were not seeing each other on that level. We had a child. The baby went to bed at 9 o'clock sharp every night. So after 9, you don't need to be in my apartment. I had that many rules in place because I was trying to be virtuous. So get yourself to a place of virtue, a place of honor also before you prepare for a husband. And I know that I'm just being real. Sometimes abstaining from sex can be hard, especially when it's somebody who you really love. We already had a child together. People were telling me, y'all already got a baby together. What you look like? Stop having sex with him. And I felt stupid saying it. But I knew that I was doing the right thing. And in that, we stayed away from each other for, I think, like, what? 7 months. And we went to church on New Year's. I mean, I was consistent with don't come to my house after 9, that kind of thing. It was a consistent walk that we did. And I told him, I said, well, okay. He asked me New Year's Eve, could he go to church with me? And that was after 9, but it was New Year's Eve service. And I was like, okay, you can go. And Chris came in that house. We were not together when we got engaged. We got engaged New Year's Day, technically. And March 1st, we were married. We planned a quick wedding and we got married. And we have been together since then. So have a cleansing process before you do get married. Don't be out here humping and bumping and grinding. I'm just, hey, let's call it what it is. And then expect for God to send you this man to cover you. And that's not how it goes. You have to go through this purification process. I do feel that it's very necessary. I do. Especially those of, because everybody ain't seeking a godly spouse. But for those of you who are seeking a godly man, don't put yourself out there like that. Yeah. Don't do that.
I'll end it right there. That's real good. Now for the women, y'all set the game. Y'all let us know what the game gonna be about. Now, if you give away your goods early, us as men, we're gonna take it. I'm gonna tell you that now. Every time, it don't matter whether you go to church or you don't go to church. They gonna take it. Every time you leave the door open, I'm coming through. And you determine whether that man's the one for you or not. Now, men, on that same note, you gotta know whether you're gonna be that good man. You know. Yeah. I mean, we given to, if it's given to us easy, we'll take it. But if you know you care something about her and she means something to you, step up to the plate and take care of her the way she needs to be taken care of.
And not just if they value, you want them to value God. So if you're in a vulnerable state and you allow that door to be open, if he values God, he'll shut that door back for you. So having a godly man matters. Because he knows that, okay, well, this woman is trying to live for God. She being vulnerable right now. It's time for him to be like, all right, I'm out the door. Yeah. That's the type of man that you want. And I do with everything in me. I believe that they exist. I believe God is still handing out husbands. But I believe that we need to be prepared. Not just spiritually, but physically, mentally, financially. We need to be preparing ourselves for that step, because those areas, the enemy are going to attack. He's going to attack you financially. So if you got some money and a game plan, that right there won't work. If emotionally you're sound and you ain't got all these insecurities and things that you're dealing with and old baggage that you have not dealt with going into that marriage, you're going to be okay. Right. So physically, if I'm in the best health that I am capable of being in, I'm doing what I can do. I'm drinking my water, I'm walking, I'm staying low of stress, away from stress. If I'm doing all that going into marriage, those are areas that he can't hit me in. Right. So what you're going to have to deal with walking into marriage is going to be just the meshing, the you two becoming one. Yeah. That's what you're going to have to deal with then. And that's work in itself. But imagine having that meshing process going on, and then you're broke, you're emotionally unstable, your back hurting all the time, you got all these things that are off. So you need to make sure that in preparation that there's a holistic healing that has taken place. Spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. Holistically, you good when you're walking down that aisle.
And that's what I heard when she was speaking. Preparation. Men and women.
Prepare.
Women, you prepare to be a wife. Husbands, you prepare to become a husband.
Yeah.
Learn how to walk the way God wants you to walk. Learn how to do the things the way he would do it. Not the street sense that we've gotten, most of us, a lot of times, on how men's supposed to react or how we're supposed to bring the package. That's what we learn, and we try to bring that to the table. But one thing I've learned about that only lasts but so long. And then that don't even have no value on the table no more. Because women, they tend to mature a little quicker than we do, and their whole attitude change. Now, all that quick stuff, yeah, it's good for a while, for a season, but then they change. Then they want to become married. Then they want to become a wife. Then they want to become a mother. All those things changes. And then you're not prepared to be that. And that's where the dysfunction comes in your relationship. So in all of that, just prepare. Get yourself on a level where you know you want to be. I'm through right now, y'all.
Yeah. So we hope that this was helpful, and we're glad that it got requested. I have enjoyed it. Yeah, I did. I have enjoyed doing it. We're going to do the Marriage Raw and Relatable via Facebook Live all the time, instead of doing it through the Bridge YouTube. And we may upload this to YouTube. I don't know. But we hope it was helpful. Thank all of y'all for viewing, and y'all have an amazing night.
Peace.